What's going on, micro pigs? Looks like you stuck around for part number 3. This is definitely taking a lot longer than I thought it would to put all these little video clips together, so I'm not really sure how much further I'm going to take you guys. But if time permits, I will just keep them coming. There might even be a part 4, maybe a part 5. Well, listen, happy Thanksgiving 2021. It is a gorgeous day today, and I just got through making my pumpkin pies, so let's get right to it and take you through the next step on this disassembly. All right, and we are getting there. So now, if you've stuck around up to this point, you already know what we've done to get here. So now I have made the decision to take this shield off of here, and I'm probably going to leave it off. Now, what this thing is designed for is it's really for cooling. You can see how it's shaped right here. It angles in so that as you're driving down the road, it will direct air right to your braking system. Helps cool it down faster, and that's really beneficial if you live in a very urban area with a lot of starts and stops and you're constantly braking, going. What will happen is it'll heat soak all of your braking system, and you will likely be heating it up more than it is able to let go of the heat to cool back down without this thing. So that's what that's really there for. Some of my buddies have said that they like keeping it on there because it keeps some of the crap from getting all up in around this area. I clean my vehicle really well, and this thing gets used once in a while for light driving around town, but most of its days are spent out in the mud. It's being spent climbing up a hill, going through some sort of deep water somewhere, because that's really what I built it for. So let's take it off. Off. And there it is. All right, so I'm just gonna put that thing over there where I don't have to look at it anymore. Get that cleaned up a little bit. Now this is all going to get cleaned anyway prior to reassembly, so I'm not sitting here stressed about getting some sand on that surface. You can see the CV axle right here, that's going to get all cleaned up too. Oh, let's see if we're lucky enough to drill this rascal out of here. Stay. There it goes. Alright, that's how you get broken cotter pin up out of there. A little piece like that. Well, that's my most unfavorite. That was a broken drill bit. Well, since we broke off the drill bit, hopefully, yeah, it just pushed right out now. Perfect. And that's how it's done, son. All right, let's get serious on this. This is what we came for, right here. This spindle needs to come completely off of here. Now we've got the steering linkage disconnected from here. Up above, we're disconnected from the upper control arm. Down below, there's a ball joint, but honestly, you can smack the top of this with a hammer, and if you hit it hard enough and shock it hard enough, you can probably get that to come off the shaft that looks like this from the lower control arm. This is what that lower ball joint actually looks like. It's got two ears, and it goes underneath the A-arm like this, and then you bolt through the top into this. So your knuckle slides right over this. Well, the problem I had on the other side was this fit was so tight I couldn't shock it loose. So I went to take these bolts out of here, and as you can see, they all broke off. In either case, that's got to come off of there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the gun on it, try to break the bolts loose here and see what happens. Alright, just as suspected, I've broken off. Good thing I ordered a pair. They're not expensive. Number 2. And I don't mind, because honestly, that lower ball joint feels like it's getting a little loose anyway. One more. Alright. So she's loose, and this is where we just want to be very gentle in taking this up off of here, because I do not want to damage the seal on the inside. Alright. And there it is. So we want to clean this thing up really well, because if you were to replace your seals, you certainly don't want a dirty or pitted surface to ruin your new seals. Or if you're reusing your old seals, well, it's kind of the same idea. Why not have this surface be smooth and clean? Gray Scotch-Brite. Pretty sure that the gray color is a medium grit, WD-40. The idea is you want to get it wet, and you want to clean this surface for sure, right here. This is your seal land for your inboard seal that's actually on the spindle. It slides over this land. Then this surface right here, that is your bearing surface. That is the bad bearing that we are replacing. Rides right here. Those need to be really clean. Little bit of light oil. It can be even different than WD-40. Doesn't rightly matter. All right, get busy on the seal land first. Give it a little turn. Scotch-Brite, Scotch-Brite. A little more. Now, if your equipment is used like mine is, you're never going to get perfect, so don't stress over it. Just get as clean as you can. Make sure that any high spots, if you can get them, are scuffed off of there. just so you give your new stuff every opportunity possible to last. Alright, so once you've done that and you've cleaned up those two surfaces with your Scotch-Brite, oh, let's see if I got a clean rag somewhere. Well, half of this is clean. So then from there you really just want to clean it right back off. You'll still see some pitting, you'll still see some rust, but you just want to make sure it's nice and smooth, which it is. Alright, that's what we're going to do for that. We'll give that a final cleaning when it's time to reassemble, but that will do for now. Next step is we're going to have to get that bad bearing out of the back of the spindle, and that's always fun. So the spindle is off, and just as I suspected, the bearing inside that supports the CV shaft was absolute garbage. I saved you guys the pain of watching me remove this thing, but the idea is you want to first get the outer part separated from the surface that it is pressed into. So usually you can do that with a punch or a chisel. What I like to do is I use a punch just like this with a pointed tip, and I will get right on the edge of the bearing and against the mating surface of the component, drive it in there like a stake mark, like a peen. And then what it'll do is it'll put a little dimple in the top of the bearing, this outer portion. And then once you get that started, then you can take like a regular chisel like this, or even a sharp screwdriver, and start to knock it down between the wall and the outer part of the bearing. And you will eventually get it tacoed and peeled out. So now we've got our spindle in hand. It's pretty filthy, but you're going to want to make sure that you clean it as well as possible. What I would certainly recommend is you take the seal surface right inside here, and you take a screwdriver and gently run it around inside of those grooves to make sure there's no pieces of metal in there. You can scrape off some of the old gook, some of the old grease that's caramelized and wadded up in there, and just gently, gingerly go around that little crack. Start scraping out the grease. Then when it comes time to actually cleaning the inside surface, which is this one right here, it's where you got to be a lot more careful. I actually would say to take a clean rag with WD-40 and keep rubbing it clean. The WD-40 is not going to hurt I think that might be made of polybutylene. Maybe it's just rubber, I'm not sure, but in either case, the seal can take WD-40, no problem. Then you're going to want to take Scotch-Brite and clean this face surface, because that one is what's going to ride up against your CV shaft with a flat style bearing like this. So you're going to basically cover this with grease. It goes inside of all those little holes. Clean the face surface on the CV. Clean the face surface on the spindle. So when you put it all back together, no resistance. That's pretty much it for this moment, and catch you when we're ready to start the next step.